Hey everybody, long time no see. So this video will probably come as a surprise to those of you who have seen my videos before, because I normally discuss things that happened years prior, and my videos normally take months to produce. But I have some unique, perhaps even hot takes on this whole situation that I want to share with you guys, that I don't think other people are saying. So in case you live under a rock like our boy Patrick Starr, the proverbial shit hit the fan 2 nights ago at the Oscars, with the proverbial shit being Will Smith's hand and the fan being Chris Rock's face, as Will smacked Chris for making a joke about his wife Jada, referencing her bald head by saying that she's starring in G.I. Jane 2 and that he can't wait to see it. Like many people, when I saw the slap, I initially thought that the whole thing might have been a stunt, as there's always weird shit happening at the Oscars. Jennifer Lawrence tripping and falling on Harvey Weinstein's dick, the whole debacle between La La Land and Moonlight winning Best Picture, John Travolta being John Travolta, also the fact that nobody watches the Oscars unless something weird happens only added to the possibility that this was all a publicity stunt. But my opinion that it could have been one quickly changed when Will sat down and started yelling at Chris, telling Chris to keep his wife's name out of his fucking mouth. So other than the fact that this whole situation is actually really sad and I feel bad for most of the people involved, my initial thought after realizing that there's essentially no chance that it was staged was that it was pretty much all Jada's fault, as she's a cheating toxic bitch and all in all just a terrible wife to Will. And in case you were living under a second rock and weren't familiar with this either, in June 2020 while hosting her show Red Table Talk, which itself has been host of many awkward Smith family moments, Jada admitted to having an entanglement with August Alsina, who is apparently a rapper or something, I don't know, with Will just sitting there doing his best to not have a meltdown in front of the world. I mean, the only reason that anybody knows August is because he slept with Jada, so why would I care to learn more about him? Kinda like how the only reason anybody knows Jada is because of the men she slept with. I'm seeing a pattern here. And other than the fact that August was like 21 and Jada was like 45 when the entanglement happens, which makes the whole thing pretty damn creepy itself, the fact that Jada thought it'd be a good idea to air this interview goes to show that she's out of her goddamn mind, as all it did was make her look like a bitch and make everyone feel sorry for Will. On second thought, it's not the only thing the interview did, as it made them the most talked about couple in Hollywood that week, going to show that she doesn't care what people have to say about her, as long as people are talking about her. Which begs the question, why did Will feel the need to get up and slap Chris Rock in the face when Jada doesn't care what other people have to say about her, and that Chris was giving her all the free publicity in the world? I believe the reason that Will slapped Chris is ultimately because he really loves Jada, feels like he's losing her, and is desperate to keep her. And what better way to win her over again than to stand up for her on live television? Many people, myself included, have talked massive shit about Jada for a while now, so in a weird way, Will slapping Chris in the face was like slapping everyone in the face who had ever said anything bad about her, just because of the stage they're on. And in case you don't believe me and think I'm just hopping on the Jada is a bitch bandwagon, you can listen to me talk shit about Jada during these 2 moments in my last video. A video that came out over 3 months before Will would slap Chris in the face. Now don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that what Will did was justified or okay. I'm just saying that it's somewhat understandable when considering all the things that have happened between him and Jada. I don't even think it was the joke itself that set Will off, because like Chris said,
it was a G.I. Jane joke.
I think it was just the opportunity to defend Jada and win her over that Will jumped on. It's sad that a seemingly good husband of 25 years has to win his wife over again. I also think that Will looked at it as an opportunity to change the narrative that people walk all over him by standing up to the bully that Chris was being. As many other people point out, if it was Will's intent to make people forget about Chris's joke, he failed miserably at doing so, as he just made a joke that would normally be forgotten in 15 minutes be remembered for the next 15 years. After watching the unedited video The Guardian uploaded that currently has like 70 million views, another video came into my feed showing a previous joke Chris made at Jada's expense while hosting the Oscars 5 years prior, where he talked about Jada and Will boycotting the Oscars due to the lack of black nominees, saying that
Jada boycotting the Oscars is like me boycotting Rihanna's panties. I wasn't invited.
And even though that was a really harsh joke that I'm sure Will and Jada did not forget, 10 times more harsher than his G.I. Jane joke, Will was still not justified in slapping Chris in the face, and it doesn't change my opinion that he did it in part to win Jada over again, and in part to change the narrative that he was a pushover. So unlike Jada, Will was at the Oscars for good reason, and that's because he was nominated for Best Actor for his portrayal of Serena and Venus's dad Richard Williams in King Richard, a nomination he sure as shit would win. I like to think that the Academy changed the winner at the last minute just so Will wouldn't go around slapping more people. I also like to think that everyone Will mentioned during his acceptance speech did not want to be on camera. Like when he quoted Denzel saying that at your highest moment that's when the devil comes for you, as if Chris Rock himself is the devil. He was like, please, don't. And despite everything that happened and that I could give two shits less about award shows, I'm actually really happy that Will won an Oscar, as I believe he's a really underrated actor and that an Oscar was kind of long overdue for him. It just sucks that his first and perhaps only Oscar win will always be tarnished by the moment he decided to slap Chris Rock in the face. I mean, if somebody feels the need to slap a man in the face for calling his wife bald, it's a miracle Ricky Gervais wasn't torn to shreds when he ripped Holly Weird a new asshole while hosting the Golden Globes. This leads us to Will's acceptance speech, as he distinctly apologized to everyone but Chris. He also tried making this weird tie-in to his movie, saying that Richard Williams defended his family, implying that what he did earlier that night was justified. Another thing that Will said during his acceptance speech is that love will make you do crazy things.
Love will make you do crazy things.
And therein lies the problem. Will Smith is in love. And being in love is not what's the problem, it's who he's in love with. As Will is in love with a woman who clearly does not love him back, because if she did, she never would have gone into that entanglement with August in the first place. So despite being a shitty actress, Jada has been able to convince Will that she loves him, which is an Oscar-worthy performance in and of itself if you ask me. Another thing that Jada's been able to do is convince me that you can cheat with a dead person. Because every time that she mentions or posts something about Tupac, who she was really good friends with back in the day, I just get the heebie-jeebies, you know? It's obvious that Jada still loves Tupac for his game, and not for his rap game if you know what I mean. After all, Will said that he experienced raging jealousy due to Jada's relationship with Tupac, which I don't know about you, doesn't sound like the result of a normal platonic friendship. Will also said that he developed a psychosomatic reaction to having an orgasm, so take that as you will. Joking aside, the reason that I bring this up is because Will has a history of being cheated on. Maybe because he's a nice guy and allows women to walk all over him. But then again, I don't know Will. Maybe he's an asshole. Maybe he's a confrontational guy. He sure didn't seem like it prior to slapping Chris. With that said, he is an actor, and a good one to boot, and it wouldn't be the first time someone in Holly Weird pretended to be somebody they weren't. But I really hope that he uses his large platform to publicly apologize to Chris and admit that he was wrong. Who knows, Will can issue his apology on Red Table Talk, the very same platform Jada used to publicly humiliate and hurt her husband. Now that I think about it, Will said during his acceptance speech that he wants to be a vessel of love.
I want to be a vessel for love.
And considering that Jada's love language seems to be public pain and humiliation, maybe this was all a misunderstanding and Will was just expressing his love for Chris.
Oh, wow!
Everybody loves Chris. But considering the fact that Will didn't seem sorry for what he did, and if anything was just justifying what he did, an apology in the near future might be wishful thinking. Another thing that might be wishful thinking as well, but that I hope happens nonetheless, is that Will finally breaks up with Jada, as she is clearly a toxic presence in his life. After all, you can't convince me that Will would have done this if his relationship with Jada was stable and not so fucked up. Nobody is perfect, and I'm sure that Will is partly to blame for their relationship having been on the rocks for so long. But if anything, Will is just a deckhand and Jada's the captain steering their ship right into the cliff. And for those of you saying that if Will is in charge of assault it'll go to show how privileged he is, it really wouldn't. Because this sort of stuff happens without repercussions all the time. As emotions simmer down, the victim realizes that the offender was not acting like themselves, and chooses not to press charges. This is exactly what happened in this instance, as police asked Chris if he wanted to press charges and he chose not to. Like the one person in the world who would want to press charges on Will the most chose not to. Not because he feared what Will could do to his career or anything like that, but because he understood that Will was not acting like himself. Again, I'm not justifying what Will did or saying that what he did was okay. I'm just saying that it was somewhat understandable when considering all of the nuances of the situation. You can understand where somebody's coming from but not support their actions. There is a difference. But at the end of the day, this was just a really sad series of events and I feel bad for Will. I feel really bad for Chris. I even feel a little sorry for the Holly weirdos in attendance. But the one person I don't feel sorry for is Jada, as pretty much all of this was her fault. I'm giving Will the benefit of the doubt that he's a good guy in a bad place in his life, because up until 2 nights ago, that was the case. Whereas Jada has proven time and time again that she's a bitch and undeserving of the same benefit of the doubt. And even in some snowball chance in hell that all of this was scripted and that Will and Chris are pulling some Jerry the King Lawler and Andy Kaufman act, Jada's still a bitch and Will should still leave her. And yep, that's my hot take. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did enjoy it, be sure to leave a like and comment on the video, as it helps me and my channel a lot. And if you hated it but made it this far anyway, be sure to leave a dislike and comment on the video as well, because the one trait that I share with Jada is that as long as people are talking about me, I don't care what they have to say. And if you like to watch my future videos, please subscribe if you haven't already. In the spirit of Charlie White, aka Moist Critical, aka Penguin Z0. And yep, that's pretty much it. See ya.